second segment of my documentary, I just wanted to cover the basis of technology being a big issue within this current generation. I mean, there's been so many advancements that basically everything has evolved over to, cyberspace in a sense. And, it's evolved the way in how, human beings within each country is currently living. I mean, with one of the stereotypes within America is that, kids of our generation are so involved and basically tied within basically social media and technology that we're so overly attached to it that we forgot the sense of social interaction. And right now I just completely ignored Kai while I introduced us into this whole topic. So within this segment, I basically went around and asked a couple of friends and seeing why humans within our generation has essentially devolved through the introduction of social media and other various forms of technology.
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, when it comes outside the virtual world, you're dealing with people face to face as opposed to just behind a screen, which makes it a lot more easier for people because you're not having that physical interaction, and without that, you're not really used to it. So that's why it's hard for people outside of social media to interact with each other, because social media, in a way, in one more than one way or another, it has brought us all together. But I feel that ultimately people take it for granted and they use it as a way just to easily communicate with people, and then it really loses that physical connection that we could develop with people.
Well, I feel like social media in general has had a huge impact on society in terms of the way people interact, with Facebook, with Instagram, with Twitter. It's so easy to, I guess, get really used to staring at a computer screen, because I can, stay on Facebook for like hours on end and just talk to people without actually, visually seeing them face to face. So I feel like because of that and because of the prominence of what Facebook and all these other social media sites are, it gets really easy to do that, and it gets really easy to become impersonable. And so I feel like sometimes a person's identity will be, kind of implemented and almost transformed onto their social media website. So you'll see, like, for example, someone that wants to be really outgoing, someone that wants to be, really personable and really just out there, may actually be really shy, but Facebook allows them to be outgoing and allows them to almost be, brave on the computer, a little computer outgoing. Because one, it takes away that social connection. Because I could be talking to Donovan on a daily basis and show him who I am, and I could be talking to Donovan on a computer, and he's never going to be able to understand my facial complexion, my emotions. There's a lot of different things that go into just talking to someone at a face-to-face level, and you don't get that when you're on Facebook or when you're texting or messaging someone. So I feel like because technology has gotten to the point where you can communicate with people without actually seeing them, it's almost like a false identity online, whereas in person they may be completely different than the person that they portray as online. So I feel like that, in essence, may be one huge reason and one big factor why so many people feel that they have a false identity online. And because of that, social media has definitely contributed to our society, especially as a youth generation, our lack of ability to really communicate face to face. And it's definitely something that we have to keep contact into, and definitely something that we have to make sure we keep up and even practice is our social skills and being able to talk to people, not online, but in person, face to face. And I feel like a lot of people do know how to balance both of those, but a lot of people don't at the same time. And I feel like it's important to stress that side of our society.
I think you can be anyone who you want to be behind the computer screen. I think social media has allowed us to be more awkward around each other. I mean, like, even when you go to a restaurant, you always see people on their phones, probably tweeting or whatever, and you don't really communicate with your family as much because you're always on social media, on the phone, or on a computer screen. And I just feel like it allowed us to be more awkward just because of the open possibilities of who we could be, or like create our image in social media, which isn't exactly the image, in real life. And I feel like that's a problem that we could address.
Where everybody's like, they grow up differently, but what I see with the use of using social media to talk to people, I find it really easy. Like, it's like a shortcut to communication. But with the shortcut, there's always a negative outcome, and the negative outcome would be is that you're not talking to somebody physically. Like there's a completely different experience talking to somebody online compared to talking to somebody, or you could use more than one sense to talk to them. And by sense, I mean like you could if they smell, you could either smell like how they smell, like you're seeing them, you're physically seeing them in front of you. You could give them a handshake or a high five, and you're feeling the person right there, the individual. So right there, there's already a stronger connection there than just replying on text and a bunch of words that I'm pretty sure are being received the wrong way. People read it and perceive it in a different way. That just causes more conflict. I feel like this rise of technology isn't really benefiting how the natural communication should be. It's just making it worse because not everybody is talking as much as they were before. There was more communication back then, but with all this technology, everybody's being distracted. Everybody stays home. They don't really do anything because all this technology is like distracting them from them living their life physically with all their senses being involved.
Okay. I think my answer for that would have to be because we as a society are now more comfortable like putting ourselves out on the interweb so that way only select few people will reach out to us, whereas we don't have to accept rejection right when we go and face people. And I know we were talking about how it's easy to send a friend request to someone and either get accepted, because most of the times you will get accepted, rather than to go up to someone and actually talk to them, because we're so isolated as a generation, and because of all this new technology, technically we don't really have to go and talk to our friends 24/7. We can go home and just talk to them via social media, and because of that I feel that the human to human relationship is kind of degrading in a sense, and because of that I think we're more open to putting ourselves on Facebook and seeing what people want to talk to us rather than go out and venture towards other people and face rejection.
I think that people are more open on like social networking sites because they don't really have a sense of like responsibility whenever they post things. Like it's very different if I were to say to someone's face like, oh, I don't like you, as opposed to like online, and it's like you're not looking at that person face to face, and so I guess like you have a sense of like less responsibility for what you've said. And I feel like it is a lot easier to write not only like things that are hurtful, but also things that are like very kind and truthful and things like that online, because it's like you're not, once you say something to someone face to face, it gets more on like onto like a personal level, and I feel like once you do that, you end up saying things that either you don't want to say, or like you end up not saying things that you want to say. And it's just easier to get that out through social media because you're not like looking at them face to face, and it's not like on a personal level.